Occupy Oakland has established itself as an influential movement in our city. Starting with just a few tents in front of City Hall, the protest quickly expanded and attracted national news coverage. We brought two groups of Oakland students to our KDOL studio to hear their thoughts on the Occupy movement. What does the 1% and the 99% mean to you?
Well, it means to me the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer.
The 99% and the 1% was unfairly because 1% they don't have to pay a tax like government, but the 99% has to pay everything.
Who is the 99%? Who's the 1%?
We, the people who work or study, who don't have at least $2 million in our bank accounts, which is just 1%.
Yeah, the top rich people are the 1%, and they don't want to give money to us. They want us to pay more taxes, and we can't afford that anyways.
The protesters are fighting against financial inequality, standing up for the 99% of Americans who are struggling in today's economy.
That seems like something we can all get behind, but the media doesn't seem to focus on the positive message of the protest.
During a violent confrontation with police in Oakland, California on Tuesday.
We went down with our cameras to get a closer look at the movement.
My name is Nancy, and I'm in the Ogawa Plaza in Oakland, here at the Occupy Oakland.
What's the movement about? I think it's very personal for each person. Everybody has different issues. Everybody definitely agrees on the fact that we need change.
This is the food tent. This food donations. They're accepting food donations. They're cooking the food up, serving it to the public.
There's been numerous media coverage all around the country about the Occupy Oakland and Occupy Wall Street movements. Would you say that the media portrayal is accurate?
Well, I think the media is portraying what's happening right now, the movement in the wrong way. All we can see in TV or radio, what we can hear in the radio is that it's a violent movement.
Every time I've been out there, I've never seen no negativity. There's always been people chanting and smiling and stuff.
On the morning of October 25th, the protesters were kicked out of the park. They announced a march to begin at the Oakland Library. It was a largely peaceful protest, though there was some vandalism, supposedly done by a group of anarchists not fully accepted by the movement. The protesters have been in a rift about whether to accept them into the movement or to make a commitment to nonviolence.
Do you believe that it is acceptable to riot if one does not receive justice?
Well, it depends what the action is. If it's violence, sometimes I do think it's necessary just to get the point that we're serious, or just to show that some things just won't change.
That night after the march, violence did erupt when the police shot ex-Marine Scott Olson with a tear gas canister.
But instead of shutting the protesters down, the police crackdown only served to grow the movement.
So a bunch of friends of ours got arrested last night, with this excessive force, and we came up from Santa Cruz with our baby girl here, just to show solidarity with the people of Oakland.
And one night later, the protesters trampled over the fences, brought down barriers, and took over the park again.
I was pretty stunned by how aggressive the OPD were here last night. And honestly, if the city had just let people stay here, which was not that big a deal to begin with, there wouldn't have been any violence and there wouldn't have been any problem. So what happened last night was not only unacceptable, but completely unnecessary.
When we returned to the plaza 2 days later, we found that the tents were returning and the movement seemed to be as strong as ever.
We're now again at Occupy Oakland, once again, hoping that this summer will be peaceful. Do you know anybody who got shot or got kicked out of this park?
I didn't know him until I came down here. A lot of these people that are out here are like myself, and we got tear gassed. Guy over there got was carrying the guy that got hit in the head with a tear gas canister away and got shot with a rubber bullet. That's the cool thing about this place. It's a city within the city. Everyone that's here is together and helps each other out, and so you just become friends. And every day, people still seem to come back out here and like not gonna let it end. So, and there's nothing peacefully assembling. Just let it happen.
On November 2nd, the occupiers marched from downtown to the Oakland port, shutting it down for the night. It was a high point for the protesters this fall, and the action attracted headlines from around the country.
Protesters bring port traffic to a standstill as Occupy Oakland's general strike attracts thousands.
The youth here at KDOL said that the strike was an important event, not just for workers, but for students who will soon be looking for jobs and seeking financial aid for college.
So how does this movement affect people your age?
If the government's giving money to the banks, they're taking money from the school and social things that might help us, like after-school programs. There is not enough money, thanks to the government.
Also, for like us to be applying to jobs and stuff, we can't get hired because there's no money to hire employees.
So we're basically getting robbed of our resources.
There's no jobs for us. People are struggling. People are having really, really hard times just trying to make it. And that's why we're here today. And that's why we're going to keep coming back here. We're going to let these corporations know that we won't stand for this. That we will defend our rights to be in this city, in this country, in this nation, and to be counted.
In the weeks following the strike, the protesters continued to battle the city for their ability to occupy the plaza.
The tents may be gone, but the occupiers continue to make their mark on the plaza and the city. The movement has awakened an activist spirit in Oakland that is inspiring young people to help shape their future. It will be up to us to decide what the future of the movement will be.